Please kindly confirm that you can see the poll that's been launched on your screen. For those that are just joining us, welcome to today's session. My name is Omotayo Akinwumi. I'll be starting shortly. Please we kindly crave your indulgence to allow for more people to join the session. I can see that we still have people joining. So please kindly crave your indulgence. But while we wait for others to join, please kindly fill the poll that has been launched on your screen. But I need to get your confirmation in the chat box that you can see or you cannot see the poll. So I will be relaunching the poll now, or I'll be dropping the QR code to the poll in the chat box. So please, or you can see the poll now. So I guess it's the network thing. So please kindly fill the poll. Endurance, thank you for confirming that you can see it. Tolulope, please can you confirm if you can see the poll? So to those of us that are saying they can't see the poll, I'm working on getting you the link so that you can easily fill this poll. We'd like to get your feedback because your feedback is very, very important to us. We'd like to please get your feedback. So I will be sharing the link to the poll right now. Okay, so I posted the link to those that said they can't see the poll on their screen. Please, I've posted the link. Would like to hear from you. So please confirm that you can please still hear me in the chat box. But I posted the link to the poll in the chat box. Please kindly fill this. We'll be starting shortly. My name is Omotayo Akinwumi. We'll be starting shortly. Please, we'd like to crave your indulgence and also to ask for your patience because we are waiting to get more people to join the session. So um, please would like to please ask that you please be patient with us while we wait for others to join the session. We'll be starting the session proper by 12:10. So please be patient with us. Thank you. And please just to ask again, so much to those that have filled the form so far. Please, would like to hear from you. Please, we've launched a poll on your screen. If you can't see it, it's the link to the poll has been dropped in the chat box. Please kindly click on this link. Would like to hear from you. Your feedback is very important to us and would like to hear from you. So please kindly click on the link in the chat box if you can't see the poll on your screen. But if you can't see the poll on your screen, please kindly fill the poll. Please, would like to hear from you. Would like to get your feedback. So please, 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 this is very important so that we can bring you more of sessions like this that would help your business. So please do fill the poll that has been launched on your screen. Your feedback is very important to us. So please fill the poll that has been launched on your screen. I have 10 people on here. So please do fill the poll. And for those joining us on all our other social media platforms, would like to also welcome you and also say that please get your writing materials ready and also get your questions ready. If you have your questions, please do not hesitate to post them in the comments, in the chat box, in the comment box. And for those that are joining us on Zoom, there is the Q&A box where you can put your questions there so that when it's time for the Q&A, our facilitator will kindly answer all of the questions that you have as regards to this session. But while we wait, please, your feedback is very important to us. Please kindly fill the poll. But if you cannot see the poll, please, the link to the poll has been posted in the chat box. Please kindly fill the poll as we'd like to get your feedback. And if you know you still can't see the link, probably because you're just joining us, please indicate so that it can be reposted in the chat box. But please, we'd like to get your feedback. Please do fill the poll that's been launched on your screen. We'll be starting by 12:10. Thank you. So good morning, everyone. My name is Omota Akiwumi. I'm the Business and Project Support Officer here at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, and I would like to welcome you all to today's session. Now, today's session promises to be another very insightful session, and we'll be taking you through everything that you need to consider, how to make legal consideration when scaling your business. So this is the topic we're talking about today, and we have an expert that we've got on today to take us through today's session. But just before I call on our facilitator for today, I'd like to also please ask once again, we have a poll that's been launched on your screen. Your feedback is very, very important to us, and we really, really need you to please fill this poll as what we get back from you while filling this poll will really help us a whole lot in bringing you more of sessions like this. So welcome once again. My name is Omotayo Akinwumi. I'm the Business and Project Support Officer here at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. And here at the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, one of the things that we aim to do, what the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund was brought into being by the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund Law 2016. And one of the aims of the fund is to help reduce unemployment in Lagos State by providing access to finance and also access to finance to business owners in Lagos State, and also provide means thereby providing employment indirectly for business owners in Lagos State. Here at Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, we have our access to finance, we have our capacity building programs, we have our access to finance, access to market programs. We also have our employability programs, our Lagos Innovate programs, and these are the various programs that we have on offer. So for our loan programs, we have 3 different loan categories. We have the MES, which is the micro enterprise startup. This is for those that have, acquired a skill of 2, you've acquired a skill, you'd like to set up your business, but you don't have the capital. So you would need to come to us with your training certificate, which has to be from a recognized training center in Lagos State. You come to us with your training certificate, your bank statements, and your tax ID, your passport photograph, your government recognized ID, and your 6 months bank statement. Now, all of these documentations you can go into any local government close to you, because we are in all local governments in Lagos State. Any local government close to you, we are in all 20 local governments across Lagos State, and also in the 6 LCDAs. So you can walk into any of the local governments, and our officers will be on ground to attend to you and to help you apply. Now, if you are also if you are under the, we'd like to apply from between 50. So for the first loan category that I mentioned, you can apply from between 50,000 to 250,000. But if you'd like to apply for higher, and well, your business is not registered, you can apply from between 50,000 to 500,000. Now, if you'd like to, if you fall under this category, you do not need your training certificate, but every other documentation that I had mentioned earlier, you'll be needing those, and then you can walk into any local government, and our officers will be on ground to help you apply for this loan, for this particular loan. And if you have your business registered and you'd like to apply for a higher amount, you can apply from between 500 and 1,000 to 5 million naira. Now, if you fall under this loan category, you also have to ensure that aside from the other documentations that I've mentioned, you also have to ensure that you have your CAC certificate. Now, this is proof that your business is actually registered, and you can and we also have your CAC certificates that also shows that your business has been registered, just like I said earlier. And if you'd like to, so those are the different loan categories that we have. We operate a single digit loan, which is 9%, and it is per annum. So if you fall under the MESME and you like to apply, you'll be paying back within a year. Or if you'd like to apply for higher, that is, you're applying under our SME loans, you'll be paying back within 18 to 24 months. So these are the different loan categories we have. We also have our capacity building programs, such as our master classes and our advisory sessions, such as the one that we're having today. And we are also currently holding a finance readiness and capacity building program at Agege Local Government in partnership with the Agege Local Government Chairman. And that is also currently ongoing and is running up. And if you'd like to, participate in programs like this for our master classes and advisory sessions, you can follow us on all our social media platforms. Even for the physical sessions that we'll be holding, follow us on all our social media platforms, turn on your post notifications so that you don't miss out on all of these programs. All of these programs have been made readily available to help you grow your business, to help you move from one level to the other, to ensure that you're not left behind, not just as a business owner, but also as a small business owner. You're a small business owner, you like to scale your business. All of these programs have been put together for you. Even as a big business owner, you also have a whole lot to also learn, because like the saying goes, no man is an island, and you learn every day. So all these programs have been brought together, have been also made available to ensure that you are able to learn and also grow your businesses. Now, aside from these programs, we have also our access to market program. Now, this is where we bring together business owners in Lagos State and give them opportunities to exhibit their products at no cost. So if you'd like to also participate in this, please be on the lookout. We have a whole lot of access to market opportunities that we have coming up later in the year. We've had one in February, which was in partnership with Unilag, at which we themed the LSTF Unilag Valentine Trade Fair. So we'll be having more coming up. So please be on the lookout. We also have our free business registrations that we run in partnership with Smedan. So if you'd like to also register your businesses, please, you would also have the opportunity to participate in that. So we also have our employability unit now. I can see you're asking if you have HVAC and technicians or solar installation. I don't know if you're asking for the training, but if it is the training you're asking for, yes, our employability unit covers this. So if you'd like to acquire a skill in all those type of areas, you'd like to acquire skill in fashion designing, in barbing, in beauty, and all of those sort of training, construction and the likes, HVAC training, solar installation training, you would not want to miss out on the opportunities on offer at our employability units programs. And they also have a job fair coming up and sometime in May. So please turn on your post notifications. All of these programs we are bringing to you as Lagos residents, where and you can also have an opportunity to partake in all of these programs. So please follow us on all our social media platforms. Like I said earlier, turn on your post notifications. Now, the reason for me saying you should turn on your post notifications is so as to ensure that you don't miss out on any of these programs when they are posted on our social media platforms, so that you can have the opportunity to benefit at no cost at all. So if you're also in the tech space, you have burning tech ideas you like to bring to life, you're a female founder, you like to, participate or benefit from our Lagos Innovate programs, please do follow us on all our social media platforms. All of these are made available. We have our workspace vouchers. You will need a workspace where you can work and pay a token where when part of the cost has been covered for you. You can also apply for our workspace vouchers. So please, like I said earlier, like I'll keep stressing on, please do turn on your post notifications. Now, this is to ensure, like I said, that you don't miss out on any of these programs that we have on offer for you. Now, thank you so much to all those that have joined us while we're speaking. There is a poll that's been launched on your screen. Please do kindly fill this poll. Your feedback is very, very important to us. So please fill this poll. Now, we have here with us Madam Oluyemi Orija, and she'll be taking us through today's session. Now, Oluyemi Orija is a lawyer and the founder and managing partner of Edford Chambers, a dynamic law firm providing strategic legal services in corporate and commercial law, litigation, dispute resolution, and regulatory advisory. She leads a team of lawyers with expertise across diverse areas of law, enabling the firm to deliver comprehensive and solution-driven legal support to individuals, businesses, and institutions. Now, Oluyemi holds a Bachelor's of Law degree from Ekiti State University and was called to the Nigerian Bar in 2013. She also obtained a Master's of Law a Master of Laws from the University of South Wales, United Kingdom. Now, with extensive experience in legal practice, Oluyemi has played a key role in supporting business growth and legal compliance in Lagos in Nigeria. She has successfully facilitated the registration of over 300 businesses and currently advises and retains over 50 companies, providing ongoing legal support across their operations. Now, through Edford Chambers, she works closely with clients on corporate structuring, contract drafting, and vetting regulatory compliance and litigation. In addition, she is actively involved in training and capacity building for organizations, equipping businesses with the knowledge and tools to understand the legal aspects of their operations, make informed decisions, and mitigate risks. Oluyemi also serves on the board of companies where she contributes to governance plans and strategic decision making. Beyond her commercial legal practice, she is the executive director of Hertford Foundation for Justice, where she advances access to justice, legal aid, and human rights advocacy in Nigeria. She's passionate about building systems that promote accountability, legal awareness, and sustainable expertise. Please, can we welcome Oluyemi as she takes us through today's session? Welcome, Madam Oluyemi. Please, you can take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Omotayo. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here this afternoon. Please permit me to share my screen. Okay, please confirm if you can see my screen, please. Hello, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can, but please, if you can put it on slideshow.
On slideshow, right. Does it work?
Okay, I think it's still not on slideshow.
Okay.
Click is the icon that is just by the Zoom, just at the bottom right hand.
Hold on, please. Stop sharing. Okay. Please, is it okay now?
Yes, it is. We're good to go.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, so as introduced, my name is Oluyemi Orija, and I'll be taking you on the subject, how to make legal considerations while scaling your business. So I believe that in this class, we have people who have been doing businesses. For some of us, we might not be at the stage of scaling right now, but of course, it is the hope and the dream and the prayer of every business that when you start small, you scale and you expand along the line. So even though you're not at the point of scaling your business right now, this class is still for you because you will get to that stage at some point in your business journey. So I've been introduced already, so I do not need this slide. Yes, so at the end of this session, the objective, or it is expected of us and everyone who is participating in this class that at the end of this session, you understand the key legal risk in business growth. Because again, while you're growing, people who weren't seeing you before begin to see you. Things that were not issues before might start to be an issues to you. And I believe that in the course of the class, you understand better what I'm trying to say. At the end of this session, I expect that you would identify legal structures needed for scaling. For some of us, we are already doing business, but where we are right now is not where anybody wants to support your growth. So you might want to look at restructuring your business to be growth ready, to be scaling ready, to be expansion ready. Another thing is you recognize compliance obligation during expansion. Some of us are already complying with some regulatory authorities, but the thing with growth is as you grow, your responsibility also grows. So you begin to see the things you have to be doing or you have to do better at growth at the end of this class. You understand how to protect your business through contracts and governance. So what growth brings to you is both opportunities and risk at the same time. So you have opportunities, you're making more money, but again, you're exposed to more risk. So how do you avert or how do you prevent yourself in such phases? Those are the things we are going to be covering in this class. I would also look at the major mistakes that a lot of SME makes while scaling their businesses and how to avoid them. So these are the objectives of our class. So if at the end of this class, you do not understand any of these things, I expect that you drag me back and ask questions, So please note that my expectation and our expectation at the end of this class is that you would be able to understand all of these things after this session. So if I'm going too fast, please bring me back, ask questions, although there's still a Q&A session after the whole session. But again, for clarity's sake, I would want it to be as interactive as possible. So bring me back, ask as many questions as you can, and I would like to take them as well. So what does it mean to scale, really? So for some of us, we are doing businesses. What would have happened to your business? Because again, I want it to be a reflective moment for you. You started a business. For me, I like to use myself as an example. I'm a lawyer by practice. I started to run a law firm from the comfort of my room, right? So I was there, I bought my first printer, got one brief. I will work on that brief. There was nothing so much going on for me at the time. But I started there. But along the line, I would always ask myself, what would I do or what would I have achieved that I would then tell myself, I've scaled my business. Now, scaling is also in stages. You cannot just scale from 1 to 100. It's in stages, is in process. So for me, I said to myself, the day I take an office, I would have scaled from my room, right? Now, when you take an office, the next thing is you cannot do this all by yourself. By the time I employ my first 1-2 employees, I probably might have scaled. For some of us, it is by the time I move from Lagos State and expand to Abuja, I have scaled, right? So scaling means different things at different times to different people. So for your business, if you increase your customers from 5 to 50, you probably at scale your business. So one thing that scale means to you could be increasing your customer numbers, the numbers of your customers. For some of us, maybe your customers are only in one cluster, like in one state, for example. And you said, the day I start to get orders from the UK, from the US, then my business is scaling, right? So it could mean to you increase in the number of your staff or increase in the number of your customer rather. The next thing is it could mean hiring more staff. For some of us,
Apologies, Madam Olieri. So please, I'm sorry for cutting you off. I can see a comment in the comment section saying that she can't hear you. So please, I would need confirmation from other people. Please, can you hear Madam Olieri loud and clear? Please, can we get confirmation in the chat box so we know if it's just one person that can hear her? Okay, I think we get confirmation. So I think to look, maybe it's your network. Please, can you try maybe rejoining the session? Please, Madam Lim, apologies, you can continue. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So yes, so to you, it could be hiring more staff. Scaling to you could mean, right now, I do not have any staff. The day I am able to get 1 or 2, 3 persons to join me as an employee or as employees, that's when I have scaled my business. So it could mean hiring more staff or hiring staffs if you do not already have any staff already. So scaling could mean that to you. Another thing could mean expanding operation, which was what I also said before. If you're already operating in Lagos State, you want to expand to the whole of Southwest Nigeria, that could be scaling for you. For some persons, you're already in this all of the Southwest Nigeria, you want to move to the South part of the country, that could be scaling for you. For some of us, we want to have, maybe you are a logistic company, for example, and you are in Lagos right now. And the day you have an office or a space or some form of partnership with somebody in the UK, wherein they can send in their product and you receive it in Nigeria and stuff like that, then back and forth to you, that could be expansion. So scaling, expansion, we use it interchangeably, and it could mean expanding operations or locations. So another thing is it could mean increasing production. So right now you're a manufacturing company and you're producing maybe 10 bottles of coffee on a weekly or on a daily basis. And you think, I need a machine. And by the time I get this machine, I'm going to be able to produce 500, numbers of coffee or Bonvita, whatever it is that you produce. When you increase your production, to you, that might be scaling, right? Now, another thing is access to funding. So for some of us, maybe your capital right now is 100,000 naira, and you have just been turning around that 100,000 naira, and you're looking for 5 million naira. And I love that we started this session with funding that LSECF is providing for us, right? So if if you are looking to expand or to scale, maybe scale your production, scale your location, you need funding. Funding is a critical part of expansion. So if you're looking at that, and when you get that funding to you, you have scaled your business because again, you're going to be able to probably hire more people, you're going to be able to produce more products and or import more products, whatever it is that you do. So as I say all of these things, I try to help us contextualize it as well. So please look at your business and look at how it fits into your business, because I want the class to be as relatable as possible. So access to funding. Access to funding, sometimes it is not just people give you money. Partnership can be some form of funding to you. Just like the example I gave for a logistic company. You're in Lagos, you have a partner in UK or US or wherever in the world. And rather than taking an office space in those places, you are using their office, right? And your customers in those places can bring stuff to their office over there, and then they can import to you, and you have some form of partnership going on in that regard. So to you, that again could be partnership. Oh, sorry, could be scaling and expansion. So when you hear the word scaling, expansion, or expanding your business, this is all that it is. And as I said, you cannot move from 1 to 100. It's in stages. For me, I moved from one room. I got a 25 square meter office. From there, I moved to a 75 square meter office. From there, I moved to a duplex, and like that. And that is scaling. And then from one employee, or from myself to one employee, to right now about 25 or 21 employees. So, that's scaling. And like I said, it's progressing. And as the goal now is, we also want to move from where we are to another stage. And then when you get to that stage, you say to yourself, I have scaled my business again, right? So it's always in process. It's in process. Where you were last year, it's probably not where you are this year. But again, while at it, or while we are scaling our businesses, there are a lot of risk, there are a lot of exposure, there are a lot of legal considerations that we have to make. And that's the whole essence of this class. So please, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to drop it in the comment section or in the chat box. So why does legal planning matters while scaling or in scaling? Like I said, as your business grows, risk multiplies. When you grow your business, there's a lot of risk, especially when you're not prepared. And I like to tell stories a lot because as a lawyer, I've helped and advised a lot of businesses. I want to be, one example I like to say here was a fashion designer who was, passionate about her business. She has her machines, she produces ready-to-wear clothes here in Lagos. And God have it, somebody in the US loved what she's doing and wanted to invest in her business. Now they invested in the business. She didn't involve any lawyer at the point. She didn't involve anybody. The money was big. She took the money, and all she had to do was produce, send to the US. Those ones market it on their e-commerce platform, and then she's meant to get her money. But because the arrangement was not well done, at the time she was also running on a business name structure, what we call enterprise. The investor was the one that told her you have to register to a limited liability company. She did that, and the investor took 80% of the business, right? Not only that she took 80% of the business, there was no legal documentation. There was nothing going on. And at the end of the day, it was more like she was just working and there was no pay directly coming in because of the whole thing, or the whole way that the thing was structured. So I'm saying this to say, the moment you want to scale your business or expand your business, particularly when you're bringing in an external factor, there's a lot of risk. And that's why you have to be on guard. You have to be on guard. You have to have a lawyer or somebody who is legally exposed or business exposed. But I always recommend a lawyer at all times to apply that journey with you, to help you look at documentation, put documentations together that protects you and protect your interest and your business interest. So risk multiplies at scale, no doubt about that. Other thing is your obligation increases. So for you that you are currently running under a business name, for example, all the tax obligation you have probably is your personal income tax. some people say direct assessment for the owner of the business. That's what you do. But the moment you scale your business and have employees, are you having 5, 10 employees? Definitely you have to look at personal income tax. Obligation to the government and regulatory authorities would increase, right? There are lots of regulatory regulations. When you have 5 stars and above, you're supposed to have pension scheme, right? So you are supposed to apply to PENCOM, get pensions for your staff. There's obligation of health insurance. There are a whole lot of things, right? But as small business owners, you're asking yourself, how do I get this done? So that's why you always need a legal person to be in that journey with you. And then, like I always say, ask as many questions as you can, because somebody says, nobody asks you to do business. But the moment you choose to do business, be ready for it, the many benefits that comes with it, and of course, the many obligations that it also exposes you to. Another thing is, at the point of scale, dispute becomes very costly. How do I mean by this? As a small business owner or a small vendor, yeah, you're just doing your thing. You can fight 10 persons, it doesn't matter. They probably, even if they call you out, it's not probably getting the traction. But the moment you start to scale, you are getting big now, you're a big girl, you're a big boy. At that point, when somebody calls you out, it rubs off on your reputation. It rubs off on your bottom line, your profit, because when you do not have credibility, when your business does not have reputation, your brand does not have good reputation, it's going to affect people who patronizes you, okay? So if I see one brand that is doing well and they've done wrong, and I can tell you, most businesses try as much as possible to avoid dispute. And when it happens, they look at the way of amicable settlement. They don't want it to escalate because their credibility matters a lot. And I am also sure that we are all on social media these days and we see how social media works, right? We call on one brand and people are saying, stop patronizing them, right? And some people would actually stop patronizing because of what that business has done or that brand has done. So at the point of scaling your business, you have to be very careful. And that's why at that point, dispute becomes very costly for your business, costly for your bottom line. It affects your naira and kobo at the end of the day, your profits at the end of the day. So while scaling, please put this in mind and also ensure that disputes will happen. We cannot automatically say that you can avoid dispute. Dispute will always happen. But what are the mechanisms you have in place to resolve dispute? So those are the things you want to look at scaling. And these are the reasons why legal matters that we're talking about today really matter when we're talking about scaling and expansion. So another thing is regulation intensifies. Like I said, if you're in Lagos, you're moving to Osun State, I mean, you're moving to another state in Nigeria, their law might be different from how Lagos operates. You might want to look at who are the regulators here. How do I manage them, right? So, or how do I comply with the regulations over there? So those are what we mean when we say regulations will intensify when you want to scale your business, and you have to pay attention to everything, because non-compliance, again, to any regulation can be the reason why your whole work over the years will just go down the drain, right? And you don't want that for yourself. So it's important to comply. The other thing is that we say legal structure must grow with the business. Very important. So as your business grows, the structure you have in place must grow with it. If it does not, it's just like you cannot put 9 on 1. If you have 1 on 1 right now, by the time you are 9, your structure has to be 9 or more. Your structure must be able to carry the weight of your growth. So that's how legal structure works. And that's why legal matters, or legal planning, is very, very important while you're also scaling. So before you sign those contracts and say, we want to scale our business, or with that partner, what structure do you have in place? Who have you spoken with? What research have you made in terms of legals, right? Which lawyer have you spoken with? What legal advice have you gotten? All of these things are very, very important at scale. So we want to talk about the common mistakes that SME makes when scaling their business. I mean, operating without proper structure. Like I said, the example of the lady, the fashion designer that I gave, she was operating as a business name. Now somebody is coming in to give you, to start or to invest in your business with 25 million naira. If you want to collect that money, you have to put the right structure in place. And you would not want to go into that kind of structure blindly, because what again does this proper structure means? So as a business owner, you can operate under different structure. You might want to operate under a sole proprietorship structure. That is, you are the only one, you are the alpha and the omega of your business. You are the only one that makes decision. You are not talking to anybody, right? You are the only signatory to the checks, and everything that has to do with the business is all about you. As a matter of fact, your business is not different from you. That is a sole proprietorship structure. Now, the moment somebody is saying, I want to bring in money to your business, I love your idea, I love what you're doing, I want to invest my money in it, it shifts, that structure shifts. Because somebody that is bringing money wants to have some level of control as well. But it is left to you and to the level of your understanding and to the exposure to legal advice that you have to know how much control do I want to give to this person. Okay, so for us as business owner, it is always important to get that kind of advice before we venture into these things. Don't let the money just, oh, this is a lot of money that I'm getting as a fashion designer. I will start to export my product to diaspora and all of those things. Yes, that's a fantastic thing. Yes, it's very beautiful to your brand, right? But at the end of the day, are you going to be working as a slave for somebody else? And that will be the result when there are no legal, when there are no proper structure. So when we say structure, it sounds big, but it's really not, it's not so much of a big deal. These are just little systems that you put in place. These are little documentation that you put in place. These are the things you say, these are our policies. And a lot of businesses in Nigeria, they have those policies, but they don't comply with the policies that they make by themselves, right? So we have to be disciplined with our policies. So it's not about writing it down and saying, in this office, so we resume by 9 o'clock. In this office, so this is our culture in this office. But if somebody deviates from it, what is the consequences? Are there consequences for every action or inaction, right? So those are the things. When we are saying proper structure, these are the little things. What is the governance structure that you have? Who are the people on your board? How often do you meet with your board of directors? Do you have advisory board? What do they advise you on, right? Those kind of things. So it's very important that we have those things. So those are the mistakes that people make. They scale their businesses, but blindly without any form of contract. So the next thing is no written contract. This is the worst thing, or what nightmare that can happen to any business owner, not having contracts in place. And I always say that this is not hard. They say that prevention is better than cure. The money you will pay a lawyer to draft a contract for you is cheaper than the money you will pay a lawyer to go to court for a breach of contract case for you, right? So we can avoid a lot of things at the initial stage, other than waiting till things go bad. So no written contracts. People go into partnership without contract, and it's laughable, right? People employ people without contracts, and you're wondering how you employ somebody, no document as to, this is the time you'll be resuming, this is the amount you'll be collecting, this is the date we'll be paying your salary, all forms of terms. You are entitled to sick leave or maternity leave, all of those things. Even if it is one staff, if you are diligent with one staff, you are going to be diligent with 20 staff. So start practicing it even under one staff. It might not be something very big. It might not be one 10 pages contract. It might just be 1 page, but let it have the clauses it needs to have, right? When your staff leaves or they want to leave, how many months or weeks notice do they have to give you? Do they just not show up one morning and then you are helpless? There's nothing you can do about it. If we have those structures in place, those systems in place, we are going to operate better as business owners. In fact, you are going to relax more because the system is going to do the work, not you shouting every day. I mean, as a matter of fact, you have no business, even if you have no business shouting, even if you're a fashion designer, you have just one shop, you have just two apprentices or employees, whatever it is they are, let there be documentations. These are my expectations from you. These are your entitlement as an employee. These are your rights. These are your obligations. If you have those things written, you will not talk. So even if I want to, I tell my people in my office, I say, if I sack you, even you will say, thank you for sacking me. Because the level of detail that will be in that sack letter, that on those so day or so dates, you didn't do so thing. And according to section so thing of our office handbook, this is the consequence for it. So if by the time you go and read it, you say, I'm deserving of this sack letter, right? So we need to be able to document all of those systems that we have. So do not hire without written contracts. That's the next thing. Hiring informally. A lot of business owners, that's small business owners, you want to help everybody in the world. You want to help your siblings, you want to help your cousins, your uncles, and all of those things. Then you hire informally. Now, do I say do not hire your family member? As much as I'm not really I do not belong to the school of thought that I should hire my family members in my business. For you that want to do it, you need to be sure that I can take the right decisions, even though this person is my family. When the right, if this person does A, B, C, and D, I can take the right decision that I'm supposed to take if this person was not my family member. And they will not call me inside family meeting in our village and say that I have done A, B, C, and D. So those are the things you look at. Would I rather hire somebody that will see that this is a business relationship? This is not a family thing. But if you can still have that level of relationship with your family, that's fine. And the family recognizes that this is business and this is business, which is very tough in Africa. So I don't advise it. So do not hire informally. Now, it does not have to be just your family members. It could be your friend. It could be even anybody, but you do not have any documentation. So if you are not documenting your hiring, then you are hiring informally. Informally is, there's nothing to hold you accountable for, right? No clear expectation, no clear documentation on what I expect from you, what you expect from me. Every 28th of every month, you expect that my salary must drop, right? Some organizations do not have such. Is anytime Oga say pay, right? It's not supposed to be so. Is anytime Oga says if the Oga says we have not made money this month, we probably not get paid this month until next month or middle of next month. It shouldn't be so. We should have documents that states all of these things. Your staff should know when they get their pay. Your staff should know what they are supposed to do, what their KPIs are, what am I supposed to do on a daily or on a monthly or on a weekly basis. What would I have done at the end of the month that you'd have said, this staff has done well, right? How do you rate them? How do you evaluate your staff? All of these things should be documented and they should know, so that if I'm coming as a staff to your organization, I know that if I tick A, or if I bring 10 businesses into the business, if I bring 10 customers into the business, I'm moving to the next level, right? I should know my growth level. So it might be tough for us as a business owner to put these things together, but you can hire experts to help you put these things together. And like I always say, it does not have to be until you have 10 staff. It does not have to be until you have 20 staff. You can start with 1, 2, even with yourself. I mean, when you're starting your business, the first thing you want to do, which brings us to the next point here, mixing personal business and business finances. Personal and business finances together. You don't want to do that. The moment you start a business, even if you have not registered that business, have another personal account that you are putting business money. Do not mix it together. And that's where structure starts. All right. That's where being informal starts. So if you are that disciplined, you're not mixing your business money to your personal money, you need to be paying yourself a salary. Even if you're selling just earrings of less than 100,000 naira, you need to be paying yourself salary. How much can this business afford to pay me? If it's paying you 10,000 naira for now, stick to it. If that 10,000 finishes, don't touch your business money. It might be tough, but you need to be able to do that. Because imagine that your business is a 9 to 5 and all you earn is 10,000 naira in a month. If that 10,000 finishes, there's nothing you will do now. You'll not steal. So if you can do that with a 9 to 5, somebody else's dream, you should be able to do even more for your own business. So I say to you, do not mix personal business or personal finance with your business finance. But it's advisable to register your business, open a business account for your business, let the monies for the business go into the business. I mean, do you know it's very fulfilling to pay yourself as a business owner? Like the first salary I earned from my business was 40,000 naira, and it was fulfilling, extremely fulfilling that this business could be paying me 40K at a time. So no, it does not have to be so much money. You are the one that knows the worth of your business and how much you can get to pay yourself at the end of the month, because you're doing so much work for this business. So you should get paid. Now, so some of us say, I'm doing so much work for this business, so I'll just carry all the business money. I am entitled to it. If Ashwebi comes out today, I will remove from my business account and pay Ashwebi. No, that's not discipline. And your business will not grow. And you will not get to the point where we're even talking of scaling today. So for you to be able to get to the scaling level, you need to be extremely disciplined. Like you have to be very tough on yourself. Because if you are not at this stage, you will not be tough when you have more responsibilities, right? So that's that on mixing personal and business finances. That takes us to ignoring regulatory compliance. So a lot of businesses say, I'm just a small business owner now. Why should I be paying tax? I don't have time. Oh, this one, if I go and register my business now, you people start asking me for ABC and T, right? These are the mistakes we made as business owners. And when Tyra was talking about the loan options that are available, she was able to separate businesses that were registered and the ones that are not registered. So as a business that is registered, you can have access to more. For the ones that are not registered, because we don't trust you, that's the meaning. We don't trust you enough to give you too much money, all right? Too much money to deal with. And even if we trust you, okay, should anything happen, what stake? Who are we going to be holding accountable? Is who we are going to be dragging? How much are you worth? Those are the things, those are how investors think. So you don't want to ignore regulatory compliance. So the first thing for you as a business, you are running business, you are making some form of money from that business, register that business. When you register that business, I can assure you that you have a lot of it has a lot of advantages. Aside the fact that you'll be able to open a business account or access commercial banks and access funding, it also gives you some level of credibility. Do you know, maybe because of my field of work, if I order something on Instagram and I see that business or brand and I love the brand and I'm ordering something on Instagram, and then I say, where should I pay? You give me your personal account. I'm so reluctant to pay. I'm so reluctant to pay. Like, I don't know whether the other persons like me, but I feel like you're not doing badly. You should be able to register your business. You don't have to go to the highest of the highest structure. You can start with business name, the one we call enterprise, right? And start from there. Then as things move on, you should go to the next level of expansion. So sometimes ago in 2021, I registered a business for a catering business as a business name at the time. She was into shelves, so chef, those that cook. If you need chefs, she would get chefs and bring them to your house, and she was doing well at the time. But we registered as a business name. Right now she has looked at our turnover, right? Over time with discipline, because we also helped her put a lot of contracts in place, because she was going to be bringing in staff to you she wants to ensure that she does not have too much of liabilities. If the chefs come to your house now and steal, you don't want to come and hold her responsible, you know. So all of that will not, she will be responsible for all those things if they are not properly written in the contract. So we did that. But I tell you, in 2025, she came, she said, there's somebody that loves our business, so I want to invest in this business. But then we have to change our structure, which is true, right? Because the person that wants to bring in money will not want you to be in 100% control. So we have to change the structure. Of course, there are different types of investments. Some people want to invest as and not be equity shareholders. What I mean by that is they don't want to be part of the business. They don't want to give you money. After a period of time, you give them their money back with interest. So there are some that exist that way. But even at that, they want to be sure that you are disciplined, that you are a trustworthy business. And again, I say that aside your business brand, you yourself, you are a brand, right? Because if I want to invest in your business, I also look at the people behind the business. Are they the people that would use my money and go and take first class tickets to UK next week? All right. So you yourself, you are a brand. Your business is also a brand, and you want to be sure that both are credible. All right. So that's that. Do not ignore regulatory compliance, register your business, pay your taxes. Very, very important. If you want to access loan, even in commercial banks, they will look at your tax returns, your tax. And I think Tayo also mentioned it for those that have registered their businesses. You want to have your tax certificate or, you know, and all of those things. So ensure that you comply at all times. And it's a mistake that a lot of business owners make. People are even running from registering their business because they believe that when they register their business, they are too exposed to regulators and all that. While that might be true, but it comes with its own advantages as well. Next thing is no intellectual property protection. So people enter partnership and scale their businesses, expand their businesses, and then they are now a brand that people are getting to know. Their logos are not protected. Their trademark are not protected. Their ideas are not protected. No copyright protection in place. Nothing is in place, right? So it's important that we protect who owns what. It's very important that we discuss or have that discussion in the course of scaling. All right, so I want to believe that we understand all of those mistakes that a lot of SMEs make in the course of their businesses and how we can also avoid them, which are things we have covered in that slide. Moving on to the next slide is legal structure for growth. So I think I've also spoken about it in the course of addressing the mistakes. The first thing is sole proprietorship. For so many people, we operate under that. But even the current tax regulation in Nigeria is tilting towards supporting even limited liability company. Because if you now have turnover of about, before it used to be 25 million, but now if your turnover is almost 100 million and below, you are still exempted from tax, right? From some tax, company income tax, important. You'll be exempted from that. But of course, your personal income tax, you still have to pay that. Value-added tax also will be exempted from charging, filing, and remitting. You will not be exempted from filing, but of course from remitting. So those are the advantages that comes with it. So I advise that as your business grow, so that you are investment ready, you are funding ready, you are growth ready, try as much as you can to upscale your structure from sole proprietorship to limited liability company. It comes with a lot of advantages. Another structure you want to put in place is partnership agreements. When you're entering into partnership, I mean, we've talked about in today's business world, we've talked about partnership a lot. We have said that if you want to go far, you cannot go alone. So you have to go with people. Going with people is not just with people, but people with aligned goals, aligned vision, right? So if you have identified a brand or a person or somebody or some businesses that you want to partner with in the course of your business journey, please document it. What is the partnership about? What is Mr. A supposed to bring on board? What is Mr. B supposed to bring on board? If Mr. A dies in the course of this business, because we don't like to talk about these things, but it happens, right? If Mr. A dies in the course of this business, what happens to their own benefits? Is it left to the business? Is it given to their beneficiaries? You know, all of those things. What happens to profit and loss sharing? Because it's not all the time that businesses make profits. What if you make loss? Who is responsible for what? All right. Who owns the copyright that this business is going to have? Is it me, the founder, or you that I brought on board, or the business, right? So all of these terms needs to be discussed, agreed on, and put into writing. So please, partnership agreement, if you're ever entering one, or you have entered one, or you are about to enter one, ensure to put partnership agreement in place. Shareholding structure. So my fashion designer example that I gave, no shareholding structure, not the one that somebody will just say, since I'm the one bringing the money, I own 90% of the share. But you are the one doing the work. I'm bringing money. It's different from you're doing the work. You are the one going to Balogun market to go and source materials. You are the one coming to pay the tailors that will sew the clothes. You are the one doing the photo shoots for marketing display. You are the one doing all of the work. So the fact that you do not have money, you are the one with the idea, you are the one with the execution. Somebody else sits in the UK, US because they gave you money and then they take 90-80% of your business. Is it fair? Is it equitable? Right? Those are the things we look at. So you want to ask yourself, what is my shareholding structure? So if I'm moving from limited or from sole proprietorship to limited liability company, what is my shareholding structure? Right? How much am I having in this business? Is it 25%? Is it 30%? Is it 60%? You know, these things have to be discussed and written down. And aside registering that with CAC, it's also good that we have shareholders agreement. Shareholders agreement expands it all. It tells us what happens to your shares should anything happen to you. All right. So things happen. I was in court yesterday and I witnessed a case where siblings of the same father, the father had a company, put their children as the shareholders of the business. Now the father is late. There's no shareholders, anything in place. And the siblings are even fighting on, because the business is doing well, on who owns what, how much do I own, right? So these are the things you want to, a lawyer helps you think beyond now and then document all of these things in place. So you're asking yourself, do I want to put myself in all of those kind of litigation issues because I run a business? I'm just, somebody say, I'm just a fashion designer. I did not cut out for all this English you are speaking. I'm a tailor, but you need it if you want to grow. If you don't just want to do that tailor for survivor's sake and you want to run a serious business, you need all this English we are speaking. All right, founders agreement is another legal document that you must have. Founders agreements, maybe you don't need it if you are the sole proprietor. You don't need that. But the moment they are bringing co-founder, you need it to, So when you say I have a co-founder, we are 3 founders, please write a founders agreement. Who owns the veto power? Who owns preferential share capital? All of those things is very, very important. How much cash capital is this person bringing on board? What expertise is this person bringing on board? You need to be able to, talk about all of that. Another thing is control and governance. Who controls what, right? Who makes what decision, right? So all these things are important, and it cannot happen in our heads. It has to be written down and agreed to by all parties involved. Control and governance. So if you want to go and sign $1 million in the bank, who must sign? Is only one signature enough, or they have to get 2 other signatures of the founders or the shareholders or the directors of the company? You need to know all these things. They are very, very essential. So control who can sign contracts on behalf of the company. It's not everybody, it's not all employees that can just put their signature on the contract and it's going to be binding on the company. We need to say this level of employees, management, can sign on behalf of the organization or of the business. So those are the things we are talking about when we say control and governance? Who are the people on your board of directors? How often do you meet? What do you discuss? How did they ensure that you are still aligning with the vision of the company, right? How do you have advisory board? What do you go to them for? How do you meet them? Is it virtually? Is it, all of these things are very, very important. For some of us, you have advisory board that are not like, advisory board are supposed to be volunteering per se. So these are people who love what you do and they have expertise. It could be an accountant, and you know that every year you have to do your auditing, for example, and you want them to look at it, or you want them to give you some advice, how to manage your books, how to do your books and all of those things. You can get an accountant on your board. You can get a lawyer on your board. They're able to tell you, this is what the law is saying. You need to get this license to do this business. And lots of expertise. Some people they don't even have to be any form of professional, but they have been in business for a very long time and they have experience that they can share with you. You want to bring those kind of people on your board. Some of us in Nigeria, we have board of directors that are completely dormant, right? It's more like you don't have a board. So if you have a board, there should be meetings, at least maybe quarterly. They should review your books. They should look at how did we do as a company in the first quarter of 2026? What can we do better? What strategy should we put in place? Those are things that control and governance is all about. So if you did not do these things now, nobody will penalize you because it is not the law. But it's going to have adverse effect on your business if you don't do it. And that's why we call it corporate governance. We will not penalize you for it, but your business will do better for it. So it's very important. And we advise that you go ensure they are in place in your business. Another thing is liability protection. How much are you liable to this business? So for a sole proprietorship, if anything happens to that business, you'll be held accountable 100%. 100%, because that business is not different from you. You are the alpha and the omega of that business. So if that business unknowingly commits some fraud or anything, we will come for you. The law will come for you 100%, and you are going to pay for it. But if it is a limited liability company, now you have different people, maybe 2, 3, 4 persons, and then your liability is minimized to your shares in that company. So if you own that company only to 20%, your liability is only to 20%. If you own that business to 50%, your liability is up to 50%. Right now, I think I also have to reiterate that today, because of CAMA 2020, that's the law that governs businesses in Nigeria, it allows for a limited liability company to have just one director and one shareholder. So that is still sole proprietorship. You are still the only person. But of course, that business is different from you because it is a limited liability company. So we can hold the business accountable. So it is the wealth of that business, the things that business own that they can go for, not your personal assets, and all that. So we say that right structure enables investment and credibility. So if you have all of these things in place, if an investor comes to your business and they're asking you, you say we have a partner in Zimbabwe that provides raw materials for us, and they say, okay, do you have a partnership agreement in place? You bring it out. They say, okay, who are the owners of this business? You are able to provide them. They say, what's the governance of this business? You are able to tell them, we have a board of directors, we have advisory board, we have the management, we have the employees, we have volunteers. You're able to say all of those things, and you have documents to back them up. The investor will be happy with you, and they'll be willing to invest in that business. So investment is not about your idea. Not having access to funding is not because of your idea is not good. It's because you don't have structures in place. If you go to the bank today and say, I want to collect loan, those are the things they're going to ask you. They're going to ask you for your tax. They're going to ask you for your registration documents. They're going to ask you for your books. How much do you sell in a month? How much have you handled? So that we know how much we can give you. All right. So When you have all these things in place, trust me, you are investment ready, your credibility is top notch, and any investor will be willing to invest in your business. So that's that. And then please call me back if you are understanding, or if you are not understanding. Let me know from the chat box. Let's know how this training is going. Are we hitting it on the head, or there's some things we have to be doing better? So, or you need some clarity. So please kindly drop it in the chat box. So that brings us to corporate governance basics. You know, I've spoken about corporate governance. I said there's no law anywhere that says you must have a board or an active board. But the moment you register with CAC, the directors that you put with CAC is automatically deemed as your board, right? So whether they are inactive or active is none of law's concern. You shall have. But for corporate governance, they need to be active. They need to be bringing some value to your business. So what are the basics? I've spoken about defined decision and authority. If you have corporate governance in place, you will know, in fact, as a new staff that is coming into your business, if I want to make a decision or if I need an approval, I will know who to go and meet. I will know that, okay, it's the accountant that can give me this kind of approval. I will know that, no, it's not the accountant. I have to go and meet the MD. It's the only MD that can approve this level of numbers or money to me. All right. So it helps you. There's no confusion. Anybody that is coming to that business knows where to go for anything, to get approvals, to get decisions, to make decisions. When the company wants to sign any form of contract, they know who can sign on behalf of the company, even though it's the salesman or the sales personnel that has been engaging with the other partner. When time comes for us to put pen and paper, they know that the sales manager cannot enter that contract on behalf of the company. They have to go back to the maybe the CEO or something, like that. So corporate governance helps us to know who can take what decision. It also talks about board oversight and advisory oversight, which I've spoken on a lot in the course of this. Which I've spoken a lot on in the course of the training. Yes, then it takes us to roles and responsibility. Who is responsible for what? That's what corporate governance does. If you are doing projects, who is going to be on that project? We should be able to know. We should not be confused. And all of that also affects us when we scale our business. If you're scaling your business and you don't have corporate governance in place, it's going to affect you, because say, for example, you want to start, you are into herbal tea, or you produce herbal tea in Nigeria. And then you now have a Jamaican partner, and they're very big on tea and herbal products. And then you want to partner with them. You're having discussions, mails are going back and forth on how the partnership would go. And then they're asking when it comes to roles and responsibility, who is on top of this project? Is it you that I'm speaking with, or is the maybe another member of the team? It's important that we must have stated all of this, and even the entire team members in your organization should know that that project is for Bola, that project is for Titi. You know what I mean? But I'm just taking names, but it should be offices. Which office is responsible for what? What department is responsible for what? All of that is highly, highly essential. Financial accountability, very, very important. When you make money, how do we pay? How do we pay our vendors? Do we do transfers? Do we do checks? What do you do? How do you make transfers? How do you pay your vendors? How do you do all these things? There should be documents for it. People say, I have to put that down. Oh, yes, you have to put it down. So if a new employee comes to your business today, and then you have been doing, you're only paying on internet banking. This person now goes and use *556. They have breached your policy. So all of those things is important. Then, how accountable are you to your investors? How do you make reports to your investors? How do you talk about your operations, the monies that came in, the monies we spent? Do you have budgets in place? Those are the things that corporate governance does for your business. Okay, now that we want to, in next year, 2027, we want to expand to 3 states in Nigeria, and our budget is moving from 100 million to 150 million because we want to do A, B, C, and D. All of that. So your budget should, not like Nigeria, that is after, we're almost like in the middle of the year, back in the days, that we will just be passing the, the budget of that year. Your budget should have been passed way ahead of us entering that new year, because you already have your goals, your projections, your plans for that year. So if you want to scale your business in the coming year, you need more money. And then you'll be able to say, we need 30 million to do A, B, C, and D. Now, the question is, how do you get your 30 million? Do we want to get it from loan? Do we want to get it because of grants that we are going to get? Do we want to get it from our sales or the monies or our services, like that? So very important. And then record keeping. I mean, we cannot overemphasize record keeping. For everything that you do, keep the record. And do not just have one way of keeping records, not just paper way of keeping records. Have clouds that you put it in. I mean, I say, if I'm going anywhere, if you ask me anything about my organization, I can pull it out from my phone, right? Let your records be accessible to you and those that should have access to it. Sometimes it's not everyone in your organization that, of course, that should have access to every document in your organization, all right? But for the documents, ensure that, I'm saying don't keep just paper books, because rats can come to your office, it can burn down, anything can happen, and they just lose all of the records. So also keep records virtually. And the best way to do that is through cloud, right? Get a cloud account and keep it there, and then you can always access it anytime. So governance builds investors' trust. There is nobody that wants to invest, except they are not willing, or they don't have the money to invest in your business. If they have the money to invest in your business and they come into your business and they see all of these things in place, tick, 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 they will invest, because it builds trust, all right, for them. So please, if there are questions, kindly do not forget to put them in the chat box so that I can take them. My screen is not, I think I stopped sharing. Okay. So my screen is not moving to the next slide. Let's go. All right. Thank you. So yes, when it comes to scaling, I think we've spoken about this. It increases relationship, right? When you are scaling your business, relationship would increase. Your customers' number might jump from 5 to 10. Your suppliers' numbers might jump. Maybe it's the person that is supplying you. Now that you have more customers, they don't have the capacity to supply the numbers that you need anymore. You probably need more suppliers, or you want your suppliers, of course, to also grow and increase their capacity, right? Your distributors might increase. If you don't have distributors already, this might be a time you now look at, oh, I need to get people to also market. Maybe you now start to put your products in supermarkets, or get distributors on behalf of your business that can distribute your products, and like that. So when you scale your business, it does not affect only you, it affects other relationships that you have, your partners. It can bring about more partners for you, or you don't have partners at all, and now you are increasing your partners. Investors as well. So your investors, of course, increase. So when you have all of these relationships in place, you'll be doing yourself and your business disservice, a lot of disservice, if you do not document this relationship. So when people are distributing your product on your behalf, document, so that when they carry it from your shop in good condition, they will not now say the product is bad. because it was in good condition when they took it away. It is probably in the process of their taking it from one place to the other, the thing got spoiled. So you cannot be held accountable. But you will not be able to argue that point if there is no documents in place. Suppliers, the same thing. The supplier do some things, you got to your shop, it's not working. How do you resolve it if you don't have documents in place? Now, you might still be able to resolve it even though you don't have documents, but it might be tougher, right? It might be tough to do. Simple English or email might just have resolved it if there are documents in place. I love to refer to things. Just check clause C of our contract. According to clause 9 of our contract, this thing you sent to me is not in good shape, or it did not meet the quality, or the, all of those things. So please, very important, document all relationship. Key contracts in place, I think we've spoken about it. Employment contract, very, very important. If you have one staff, please have an employment contract for that person. It does not have to be bulky. It does not have to be It just have to be basic, and the terms you want to have, the things you want to have protected, your sanity that you want to have protected, there should be consequences. All of that should be stated right there. Supplier agreement, partnership agreement, investment agreement. When somebody is investing in your business, please have an agreement. Service agreement. So for us that are into services, I think I can use logistics service, for example. It's important for you to have this because they are bringing people's products to you to go and deliver in different places. You want to have insurance. You want to have who insures the product. Is it the insurance company? Is it the people who are bringing it to us, right? You want to have issues like damage. If it gets damaged on the road, how much liability do we have, right? All of those things. For some of us, we also need NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. So depending on the type of business you run, you might have some trade secrets that you don't want your staff to be able to share, or you don't want your staff to go and duplicate things you do, or to go and be doing it elsewhere, or giving your trade secrets to competitors, all of those kind of things. You might need a NDA in place with that kind of employees or partner or anyone that you're entering into relationship with. Another thing is lease agreement. A lot of us are running our businesses from properties that we don't even have agreement on. No lease agreement, no tenancy agreement. You are just there. So every day, landlord is saying, don't throw water inside this thing. You are spreading this over here. If you have contracts in place, all those arguments will not be coming because all you'll be doing is ensuring you stick to the contract. All right. And if they want to eject you, ejecting you out of your business place can be very traumatic. It's even worse than when you're ejecting you from your house, right? So the drama of going to court and all of that, it might still happen even if you have a lease agreement, but you would be sure that you are sticking to the lease agreement. And if it does happen, it's simpler to resolve than when you don't even have it in place at all. So, and especially when you are scaling, if you are scaling from Lagos to, you are still doing your business in Lagos. I am from Ekiti State. If you are scaling to my state, for example, I want to get an apartment. It might not be the culture or the thing over there to write a lease agreement for you. They just say it's my landlord. They don't have Ajo Wanoni, and it's just a gentleman agreement. But it doesn't work that way. You that are coming from a senior client, you might want to just protect yourself and say, I'm but sorry for those that don't speak Yoruba. I know that we did together, but can we still put it in writing? Please have lease agreement in place all the time because relationship can go sour, right? So no contracts it means you are not managing your risk at all. That's what it means. So if you're scaling, you need to put all of these things in place. If you don't have it right now as a singular person doing your business in a small way, it's okay. But the moment you're thinking big, which is the expectation of LSCTF, that you grow, right? The moment you're already thinking this way, please ensure that there are more than this, as a matter of fact. But I think these are the basics, all right, that we can talk about in the course of this training. hiring and employment. I think we've already spoken about this. That's when you're hiring staff, write your written employment terms. Very important. Have your employment contract, job roles and expectations, salaries and benefit clarity. Some people don't even know how much they earn because there are a lot of deductions that are made, and those deductions are not explained to them. We do a lot in my organization. We do a lot of cases around employee-employer relationship, and they would take themselves to court and all that. These are the challenges we always face when the contract is not specific on, if I'm deducting pensions from your salary, what's the percentage of the pension? The staff needs to know. All right, then the remittance, am I remitting what I'm deducting? I'm supposed to deduct your personal income tax and remit to your state, the state you live in, right? And that's one thing that also happens when you are scaling. So if you are scaling, you have staff in Ogun State, you have staff in Ekiti State, you have staff in Lagos State. Now, personal income tax is paid to the state that your staff resides. Those are the, those are the responsibility that scaling exposes you to. So now that it is only LIRS you have been paying to, now you have to pay other state revenue services as well. So you have to always think about these things when you're scaling your business. So termination provisions, if you want to terminate your employee, their employment, what is the provision? That's the essence of, and the funny thing about these things is, if you do not have these things in place, law will interpret it for you. Law will help you to bring what it should be, and that might not be in your favor. All right, so you don't want to do that. You want to spell it out the way you want it to be, so that law does not help you to do that. Another thing is compliance with labor law. Always, there's labor law in Nigeria. Please have a clue. You don't have to read and understand everything, but have a clue about it the moment you take the decision to hire one person. I said that informal hiring becomes risky at scale. Yes, very, very risky at scale. As a small person, you might be able to manage some of this risk. But the moment you are scaling your business, you have too many important things to focus on at the same time, right? So you cannot be hiring anyhow. You cannot say, I just want to help out. No, it cannot work. It has to be documented. It has to be formal way of employment. So that's on that. Then we go to regulatory compliance. Scaling triggers a lot of things. You're scaling, maybe you have been importing perfumes from Dubai and you have been selling. That's what you do. But now you want to be producing because you actually have passion for these things and you know how to go about it. Now you ask, which license, industry license do I have to get? So depending on what you produce, depending on the services you render, you need licenses to operate. So those are the things that scaling expose you to. So what license do I need to get? Tax obligations, we've spoken about this. The more you scale, you might now have to start paying company income tax. You might have to start looking at withholding tax. We have personal income tax. Now, for scale in different locations, personal income tax in different states, that's a lot of obligations to you. You are looking at regulatory approvals. Yeah, you need to get some approvals before, or certifications before you do some things, or licenses. Safety standards, depending on the industry you operate in. These are also very important for those who are doing constructions. There are some safety things you need to check before you can operate as soon as you start to scale. Data protection policies, very important, because, and I mean, we are going bigger and bigger on it in Nigeria right now. You don't just want to, as a business owner, depending on the kind of business you do, you are collecting a lot of data. Maybe you are getting phone numbers and addresses and email addresses of your customers. How do you use it? In fact, before talking of how do you use it, how do you store it? Is it safe? You don't just want to put people's data anyhow and anybody can access their data. So data protection is very huge right now. And if you breach these laws, it's a lot of penalty that comes with it. So you want to be very keen on how you store the data of your subject, the people you collect their data, and how you use it. How do you process it? How do you use it? Don't just go and put people's data online anyhow without getting their consent. All right. You want to share reviews or testimonials of your customer. Beautiful idea for sales, right? But did you get their consent before you put it out there? Especially when their names are boldly written on it. Some people will not take these things lightly. And see, they might look away because you are not big right now. But the moment you are getting big, they'll drag you like a generator. So that's very, very important that we take data protection very seriously. Then compliance gaps grow with size, which is true. As you are growing, in fact, the things you have to comply with also grows, and you have to grow with it. And if you do not grow with it, that gap will be widening every time. And the day that the law will catches up on you, it's going to be very big. So you don't want to wait till that time, and you don't want to risk your business, right? And your hard work over the years. So please, I always advise that businesses should always, comply. Tax consideration when scaling. I think we have spoken about this. Company income tax. The moment you start to do 100 million turnover is not your profit. Turnover is your revenue. So if you start to do company over 100 million, you are supposed to pay company income tax to Nigeria. VAT is also another obligation, depending on the service and the products you sell or the service that you render. It is not all services that are VATable, but please do research in your industry. Know whether your service is VATable or not. If it is, you have a VAT obligation to the country, and it's important that you comply. So VAT is not paid by you, it is paid by your customers. Charge it. If you meet that requirement, like 100 million turnover, you're supposed to charge VAT. So if you are selling this thing in front of me now, a laptop in front of me, if you're selling, you're supposed to add 7.5% of that as the VAT, and then you're supposed to remit that 21 days after you collect it. What does that mean? So in the month of we are in April now, right now, all of the VAT that you collect in the month of April, you are supposed to remit it back to the government on or before the 21st of May, right? And you do that every month like that. Then payee and payroll tax is very important. We've talked about that. Personal income tax. It is paid to the revenue service of the state that your employee resides. So if you are in Lagos, you operate in Lagos, and you have staff who come in from Ogun State, Ibafo, for example, those staff, their taxes, personal income tax, are supposed to be remitted to Ogun State government, and the ones who reside in Lagos, their own taxes are supposed to be remitted to Lagos State. So that's personal income tax. Withholding tax. So it all depends. This is also another tax that if you're rendering a business, you have to, or maybe your rent, for example, in paying of your rent, you are going to retain percentage of this rent when you want to pay to your landlord. It's not only in rent, there are different services like that, like professional services as well. You're supposed to pay your withholding tax on it. So cross-state operation is the one I just explained with payee. If you are operating in different states of the country, there are laws in different states of the country, and you have to comply with all of the laws in all of the states that you currently operate. So it is important for you to plan your taxes as you scale your business. It is the wish and prayers of every stakeholder, including Nigeria, that your business should grow, right? But when it does grow, you have responsibility as much as it comes with its own benefit to you. So please plan your tax as you evolve in your business. Intellectual property. I think this is one area we don't really talk about a lot. And every day, as a business owner, as a founder, you have something that you are producing intellectually. And how much are you protecting these things? And what are the benefits that it brings to you? Your business credibility can be a source of income to you. So example is cinema business, for example. So you go to Akwa Ibom State, and inside their cinema, it is the Silverbird Cinema. It is not the owner of Silverbird that went there to build Silverbird Cinema. It is somebody who has money that did the cinema. But I know that if I put Ikechukwu Cinema, nobody will know the cinema, right? But because Silverbird has already gotten some level of credibility around its brand, I'm getting a franchise, right? So instead of putting my name, Oluyemi Cinema, I just put Silverbird Cinema that everybody already knows, right? And that is bringing money to Silverbird because you are using their brand, their credibility. They probably are not putting anything. They're not giving you anything. They're just using their name, right? Or they're only giving you some requirement that you must meet for you to be able to use our name, right? Because we already have like a standard. So if you build your brand to a level, you can begin to do that, assign, franchise, right? And that gives you money, even in the comfort of your homes and your offices, right? So brand is very important. And when you are scaling your business, your brand becomes valuable to you. That's the whole essence of it. Your brand becomes valuable because people are now getting to know your brand. People are loving your product. So you want to protect it jealously, right? Your product becomes identifiable in the market. Now people might not know which tomato is tin tomato is different from another sachet tomato, but as time goes on, depending on how big and how you're building that brand at scale, the product becomes identifiable. People now know it is this brand that owns this. You get what I mean? So scaling helps you to build your product to that point, and your brand becomes valuable. Processes become proprietary. What does that mean? There's something we call patents. So the process of doing things, you can protect it. So if, say for example, KFC chicken, have you wondered that every other KFC you enter, it's not the same person that is making the food now, but it's the same thing everywhere you go. It's the same taste, the same look, the same texture, the same everything, everywhere you go. Why? Because they documented the process. So even if a daft that have never ever processed chicken in his life gets into that organization today, it is written down. When you put vegetable oil, after 5 minutes, you now pour flour. Next minute, you now put chicken. They already put it down. So in as much as you can read and write, you'll be able to produce it. And that's why it's a unique taste everywhere. The measurements are there. So you begin to, as you scale your processes. So it does not have to be food, like I've used that as an example. If it is that you make particular designs, write it down, right? And protect it. You can patent that thing. You can patent it, and then nobody will be able to do it just the way you have done it. Somebody can add to it or remove from it, but they will not be able to do it just like your own. So that's that. So how do you protect all of these things? Where you have your brand, processes, and products, you can trademark. You can trademark your business name because, of course, the brand is getting bigger. Your logo, your business name, your trademark. Trademark could be your brand name. So your business name might be different from your brand name. I'll give an example. If you go to CAC now, the name MTN is not what is registered. It's a longer name. They just use MTN. So MTN is the brand name. So there's a difference between your brand name and your registered business name. So I can choose to register the Edford Foundation for Justice. That's our registered name. But you say HFG is our brand name. So it's all depends. So if you have your brand name and it's already something big to you, you can also protect that through trademark, product designs, content, your graphics, all of those things, you can protect it. And when you're entering into partnership, also say who owns every copyright or every intellectual property that we produce in the course of this partnership. Is it owned by me or you or the company? Let us also know. It's very important as you scale your business. Funding and investment legal risk. How do we go about this? You we know that when you want to scale your business, like I said, money is a critical part of it. Nobody scales business without money. I say you can start a business without money, but you cannot scale a business without money, right? So you can start a business with your passion, with what you have, with just on your phone. I mean, there's a trend on TikTok that people just put their business, open a page, 0 followings, 0 followers, and there's like a ribbon tied to it, and then they are cutting it and say, this is my small business, I'm launching it in the name of the God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So you can start a business without leaving your room, with just your mobile phone, right? But you cannot scale a business without money. So when you are scaling is when you actually need a lot of funding. And at this time, there are different ways that you can get funding. We've spoken about investors. People can come and say, I love what you're doing, and put their money in it. Another person can say, I want to go and meet the bank or LSETF for loan to scale my business. Another person can say, I need partnership. It can be a joint venture. So there are different types of funding that you can access. Some people is grants. They get grants, maybe government grants or grant from the diaspora, all forms of grants. People who say there are angel investors too, who says, I'm giving you money, but you have to meet some milestones, right? But they're not going to collect that money back. So there are different types of investments that you can get. But in getting all of these things, there are pros and cons. And that's why it's important to read through every agreement. There's no commercial bank, and I believe that LSATF will not give you a loan without a contract. There's always a loan contract. So in that contract, read it very well. Be sure it is something you can comply with. If you cannot comply, don't take it. If you know your business will not have the capacity to pay back, don't take it. If you know we are not ripe to collect 5 million, or we are not ripe to collect more than 500,000, don't go and collect 5 million. Collect what you need. Don't collect what you don't need. For a lot of times, what we need is not even money, but we think is money, right? So do an internal audit of your business and be sure that you indeed need funding before you apply for it. Now, when you did apply for it, please read the terms and conditions. Be sure that you can pay back. We are doing a lot of debt recovery for banks in Nigeria. And you see how businesses take money to go and import scarves. But when they collect the money, they go and put it in construction, right? You don't want to do that. Use the money for what you said you want to use the money for. And the reason is because for your business, you already know the nuances, you know the nooks and crannies of that business. They wake you up because you've been running it for 10 years. You know where to put money, you know where not to put money. So if you collect money to scale your business, collect it to scale it. Don't go and collect it to pivot into another business entirely. If you pivot into something that you are not aware of, you don't have a clue. I mean, there was one we did like that. The guy took money to go and put it in another business that he was new to. Apparently, they scammed him, right? And now he has money to pay back to the bank. You know, a lot of embarrassment to your brand, to yourself, no peace, right? And it costs you money because you have to get lawyers as well, who will now represent you in court, and litigation is not beans, right? So look at all of those things. So read and collect what you know that you need and that you can afford to pay back, all right? Then the clarity around this is ownership, control, profit sharing, and exit, right? If an investor is coming into your business, how do they exit? Is this written down? When do they leave and how, right? If we make money in the course of this partnership, how do we share it? Who controls what? Who owns what? Who owns the intellectual property of this business? Who owns the idea, right? All of these things need to be written down. So please, it's important that we put all of that in writing. So I think I've also spoken on expansion by location checklist. So if you're moving from one state to the other, or one location to the other, please, or one country to the other, you have to look at personal income tax. We've spoken about it. Go to that new state, ask for their internal revenue service. Ask how do they do their computation? What do I need to bring? How do I do my direct assessment as the founder? If you're also earning or living there, you'll be living there, right? So lease agreements. I used an example of my state. It might not be the custom and the tradition, for people to have lease agreement in some states in Nigeria. You just do gentleman agreement. But please, as a business, you have a stake. You have something to lose. So as much as you can, ensure there is lease agreement, local permits. There are local governments that you need to pay things to different, different dues or regulations and all of different things. So you need to know permits that you have to pay for. You need to know who is responsible. Where are the local government residents? Go there, have meetings. We are new here. We want to know what the laws are. You know, if you don't want to go to that office, ask people. You know, if you have lawyers there, ask questions too. They can be able to also put you through. State regulations, different states with different laws. If you are scaling your business to other states, you need to know what is going on in that state. So each location carries their own legal exposure. And you as a business owner who has stake, who have something to lose, you want to be abreast with all of those legal requirements and to the best of your ability, comply with them. So when do you need a lawyer as an SME owner or as a business owner? When do you need a lawyer? I say it's every time, actually. What do I mean by it's every time? So at every stage of your journey in business, you need a lawyer. And it's advisable to always have one. So there are different ways you can do this. There are lawyers or law firms that have structure for SMEs, right? They have structure for SMEs because they know that SMEs probably cannot pay as much as bigger businesses, right? So they have structure wherein maybe you can form a cluster of 5 businesses, pay retainer for a year, and then have access to some services, legal advice, contract drafting, contract vetting, different things. So you might want to, look for one in your area if you don't have one. They're online as well. Check out for us at Tedford, we also have packages like this. So these lawyers will help you with your structure when it needs to change as well. So like I said, you might be operating under one now, but as you are scaling your business, you might have a need to move to the other. So structure changes, lawyers can advise you around it, contract drafting, employment issues. So when you have a staff who is doing anyhow, you can talk to a lawyer about it. They can tell you the best approach around it. If you don't already have a staff handbook or an employment, because employment contract cannot capture everything. So it's always advisable that you have a contract, a business handbook or a company handbook. That handbook is like a bylaw of the organization, and it forms part of the employment contract of the organization. And so everyone who is getting an employment contract also gets a copy of the handbook. There is a business that we do that for, and we go there, we explain it to the staff, and we do that on a quarterly basis. For some, it's twice a year. For some, it's yearly. So it's you that knows your business and how you want to do this, how you want to structure this. But it's important that employees are abreast, and things can change as well. Even if it is written, you do internal memo, let them know that it's part of the business. Things changes, things evolves. I say that law is not static. Law is dynamic. Things happen. I believe that at some point in Nigeria, we never knew data would be an issue. We didn't know internet was going to be a thing, right? But as these things are happening, laws are being made. Now we now have cyber, whatever laws, right, that captures those things. So law is dynamic. It's not seated. As human beings are evolving, law must also evolve. Expansion decisions. So if you want to expand, and you need a lawyer to guide you through, help you know what to do. Partnerships. As you're entering into partnership, you need a lawyer. Compliance with all of these regulators can be a lot, because again, you are just a business guy. You just want to do business and make money. Why do you have to go through all of this? So lawyers can take all those things off your back. For some people, they have internal lawyers. So you can employ a lawyer internally that can take all of this off you as well, if you have the capacity to do that. If you don't, you can outsource it to external lawyers, and then they can help you to do all of this. Prevention is cheaper than litigation. Very, very important. I said, the money you pay a lawyer to draft you a partnership agreement is way, 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 way cheaper than the money you would pay for them to go and be fighting your partner in court. All right. So please evaluate these things and then take the right decisions. So we are coming to the end of the class. And I think from so far, if we go back to our objective, I want to believe that we must have touched on everything. And the key takeaway for me or for us all is that ensure as you are scaling your business or planning to scale your business that you have the proper business structure. Ensure that you have key contracts in place depending on the kind of scaling you're doing. Is it partnership and all of that? Every contract that you need to have, please have it in place. Employment terms, if you are increasing the number of your staff or you are taking a staff for the very first time, please put your employment terms documented. Do not employ informally. Regulatory compliance, check, look at yourself, do an audit of yourself. When was the last time you paid tax to Nigeria? When was the last time you paid your personal income tax? When was the last time you filed a value-added tax? Look at all of these requirements, all this compliance that you have to do. There's annual returns with CAC. If you do not pay your annual returns every year, whether you are doing business or not, at some point, CAC will strike off your name off their record. And not only that, if they don't even put your name off their record, there are penalties. And the day you will come back, because you will always come back, that's the funny part of the whole thing. You always have a reason to go back. So the day you come back, you then pay all that you have not paid over the years with penalty. And you don't want to do that, right? So regulatory compliance, look at yourself, evaluate your business. What am I supposed to be complying with that I have not complied with in the long time? How do I now plan to do that in the next 1 year? So you can budget for that. Brand protection. How are you protecting your brand now that you are scaling your business? What are you putting in place? Are there intellectual property that you are protecting? Is it your brand credibility online? If your business is majorly online, how well are you protecting your brand online? How well are you using your business page to go and be commenting under Instablog? All of those things. It is not you protecting your brand. If you want to protect your brand, you cannot be using your business name online to go and be doing gossips, right? Use your personal line, personal page, and don't mix everything all up. For some businesses, their personal page is also their business page. Now, you can use your personal page to run business, but don't use your business page to do personal things. You know, what do I mean by that? If you have a personal page online and you have a business page online, I can use my personal page to promote the things I'm putting on my business page, right? Because I want people who are following me to also know that I own a business. But I cannot use my business page to go and be projecting my personal views, all right? So there are different things. And you need to also, it's part of brand protection. You don't want your brand to just be seen anywhere and anyhow, particularly as you scale your business. Another thing is financial and tax clarity. I think it also falls under regulatory compliance. So check all of those things and ensure that you are complying, right? We are coming to the end of the class. Scaling increases opportunity and legal exposure, but legal planning will help you, will support you. So what do I mean by this? When you are scaling, it increases the opportunity, of course. You are probably going to get more money. You are going to meet more people, more important personalities, you know. But again, it exposes your legal requirements and responsibility. So you want to ensure that your investment ready, your sustainability growth. What is it? What's the plan you have for sustainability? How do we sustain this business? What's the plan you have for it? So you want to ensure that you have all of that in place. Your risk reduction. How are you reducing your risk? So all of these things. How are we ensuring that we are financially stable, right? We are not involving in any unnecessary dispute, right? Those are the things you want to put in place. Growth without legal structure is fragile. What do I mean by that? If you grow your business or you're scaling your business and you don't have any good structure, solid structure in place, in no time you'll fall back because it will be too overwhelming and your foundation will be too weak to handle that growth. So please, as much as possible, you are growing your business, ensure that your legal structure is solid, very, very solid. And to have a solid legal structure, you need a legal partner. So if you are not taking anything out of this class, if all I have said today is too overwhelming for you to do, because I can understand, please, all you just need to do is go and, if you don't already have a lawyer, get a lawyer, tell the lawyer you attended this class. These are the things they are serious right now. And you know that you are not compliant and you want to start to comply. How do I start? Now, not just any lawyer, but of course, a business lawyer. All right. So discuss these things with them, and they might be able to take all of this responsibility off you, of course, for a fee, right? And then you get it done, because it is important you get it done, whether you do it yourself or you outsource it, right? So I think that brings us to the end of the class and the session. I hope that I have been able to cover all that we promised to cover in the course of the class, which is that you will understand your key legal risk in business growth. You identify structures needed for scaling. You recognize compliance obligations during expansion. You protect your business through contracts and governance, and then you avoid common SME legal mistakes. So I think that we've been able to cover all of this. I'll be very open to answer questions now if you have any. Thank you very much.
So thank you so much, Madam Oluyemi, and I'm very sure all of our participants on here have learned a whole lot. I have questions in the Q&A box. Please, if you have questions, please drop your questions in the Q&A box. This is to ensure that your questions are not lost in the chat box, please. I have a question here from Elizabeth. I have actually two questions from Elizabeth Bolariwa. And the first question is, does one pay yearly when protecting one's logo or trademark? And the second question is, can NAFDAC grant registration number to shop owners, or it's only those that have factories they approved?
Okay, I think the first question on trademark, no, you don't pay yearly. So when you register your trademark, it lasts for 7 years and you renew after 7 years. So that trademark covers your brand name and your logo or your registered name, whichever it is. It's about your brand and it's for 7 years. So the moment you get it registered now is until the next 7 years that you have to renew that. So it's not yearly. And for copyright, it's once and for all. And then there are patents, there are different types of protection. But for trademark specifically, which is the question, is after 7 years that you get to renew. And the second question on NAFDAC. So I want to believe that you're asking, probably you are into manufacturing or some sort. So NAFDAC number is not on shops, it's on product. So if you are manufacturing a product, it is the product that the NAFDAC is interested in, not your shop per se, where you display. But of course, they will come and visit your factory where you make it. So if it is your shop that you are making that product from, it is deemed to be your factory and they will come there. Now, what are they coming to look at when they get there? They're looking at how neat is it? Hygienic is it? What you're producing, is it consumable? Is it not of any detriment to the consumers that are going to take your food or whatever it is you're producing, whether cosmetics, whatever it is? So they are coming to check for all of those things. And that's the essence of coming to your location. Now, your location, if it is your shop, it really doesn't matter. Whatever location, but of course, it has to meet their checklist, neatness, compatibility, all of those things. You have to find out depending on what you do. And so it's not about the shop per se. It is wherever you are making the product you say you are making, right? And does it meet their standard? Because they have a standard, especially in terms of hygiene and how good is it not harmful, right? Is it not harmful to the consumers? I think that's the major thing they're looking at. That's about that. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm very sure that answers your question, Elizabeth. I have another question here from Mama Me Too. And it says two questions actually. I have the first one being, what is the cost of filing annual returns in CAC? And the second question being, what are the charges for a first year nano business to file its return? Is the rate fixed?
Okay, so for annual returns, it is fixed with CAC. So CAC, and it is in stages. It depends on if you're a business name or if you're a limited liability company. So if you're a business name, I think they charge, although they reviewed their fees recently, and I might not be abreast with the current fees, but it used to be around 5,000 naira per annum for business name. And that 5,000 naira, but if you fail to pay, then it accrues penalty. All right. So for every year, you are supposed to pay that money, whether you are doing business or you are not doing business. Because some people say, but I've not been operating. It doesn't matter. In as much as it is a registered business, you have to pay annual returns. What that does is to say, I am still here. Don't strike off my name off your register. Because the moment they strike off your name off their register, somebody else can register that your name. Okay, so annual returns is paid yearly, and you have to pay between January and June every year. By the end of June, it is a late filing already, and then you will pay penalty. So as of now, we are in 2026. You are supposed to pay for 2025 before 30th of June. All right. So that's how it works, and it is fixed. But of course, you cannot pay it yourself except you're an accredited agent of CAC. So those accredited agents will charge you. All right. If it is something you can do yourself, of course, it's that 5K you're going to pay. But agents or lawyers that you are using are going to charge you for the services they will render to you. And because they will charge you, it all depends, right? So a lawyer can charge you 50K, while another person charges you 30K, while another person charges you 20K. It all depends. And of course, it also depends on the level of penalty you must have accumulated. Say your business was registered in 2022, you have never paid annual returns up till now. If you want to comply, you pay for 2023, 2024, 2025, and with penalty. So all of that will now depend on who is rendering that services to you and how much they are going to charge you. I hope I answered the question.
I hope so too. Maybe too has indicated that the company is a limited liability company.
Yeah, so for limited liability company, I think it should be less. It used to be less than 10,000, but of course over 5,000. And again, limited liability company also differs. There are some that are small companies. That is if your share capital is 1 million and less. If your share capital is more than that, it's also another category. All right. And in that category, you need to have an audited statement of account, meaning that an auditor must have audited your company in the past year. So for 2025, it's expected that everything you did between January and December 2025, if you are a company with more than 1 million share capital, you need to get that company audited. Let us know what your assets are. They are not doing anything with that data as of now. They might get to start doing something later on, but they just want to ensure that, okay, this business is running, whether you're making loss or you're making profit, it's important for you to put that data there and then upload your audited statement of account, right? So those are for limited liability companies, particularly if your share capital is 1 million and above.
Okay, I have another question here from Endurance. So the questions are, I have two questions from Endurance, and it says, how can I make my inactive board active? And is there a simple way to track my scaling with what systemic process?
Is there a way to track what?
To track my scaling. I think what is a simple way to track my scaling, and what app or system can I use?
Okay. So the first one on status from inactive to active, all the law requires of you is to pay your annual returns up to date. Pay your annual returns up to date. CAC is supposed to update it for you from active from inactive to active. But unfortunately, and I have to talk from practice, that's what the theory says. But in practice, sometimes you even pay up to, because you have defaulted for a long time. Now you have complied and paid up to date, but yet your status is still reading inactive. You now have to do an email to them and tell them, uploading the evidence of your payment up to date and telling them that you have paid up to date, they should change your status. Then after that, it can get changed. Now you might have to do a lot of reminders and reminders and reminders before you get done, or it will get done, or it will be done rather. Now, the second question on system in place to track your scale. So, I mean, I say that businesses with different, like we have our different stories. A lot of us, it's easier for us to tell our stories because we are very particular about it. And again, I said something that right now, the stage you are in right now, what is that thing you're looking up to that you say, when I tick or meet this milestone, or when I reach this milestone or tick this box, I would have said I've scaled my business. What is that thing right now? It changes over time. It cannot be one thing. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing, right? So at every stage that you are in, you know the next stage you want to be. And documenting it helps you to track it. If you are not documenting it, you can't track it. And you cannot improve it if you are not also tracking it. All right. If you are not documenting it, you cannot improve it. So document your journey. That's how you can track. Now, projecting is another way of doing it. Now, what system can you use in projecting? And I think I always say that when we are projecting anything at all, be realistic and be honest with yourself. Don't give yourself unnecessary pressure. And every small thing, like celebrate every small wins, and it's a scale. Even if it is, you projected that by the end of 2026, my turnover will move from 10 million to 20 million, or from 10 million to 15 million. That's your projection. By the end of 2026, if you look at your annual turnover and you tick that box, you have scaled your business, right? So scaling is subjective because it means different things to different people, and it's peculiar to each businesses. Is not, even if you're in the same industry, right? Your journey is different from my journey. What I would say I've scaled with is different from what you say you've scaled with, right? So it all depends. And I do not know any system that you can put in place really that will help you project other than planning. So for every business, we have a sustainability plan. You should have a sustainability plan for every business. In that sustainability plan, you're thinking what you want to achieve in the next 3 years, or organizational goal. For some people, they call it organizational goal. So if you have it written down, and don't just write it and go and sleep. When you have your organization goal, I say by the next 3 years, my organization would have moved to 2 states in Nigeria from 1 state that we're currently in. When you have that goal, then you break it down to objectives. What would I be doing every day or every week or every month to achieve this goal? So you break those things down to objectives, and then you take it 1 step at a time. And every month as you are doing those things, you're celebrating yourself for it because you're moving towards your goal, right? And as you hit that goal, you know that you have scaled your business. So it all depends. But importantly, documentation. Document your projections and document your journey. So that in the next 3 years, when you are now in front of all of us and you're telling that story, I mean, it's easy for you because you can pick it up and say, in 2025 or 2024, we started from 1 room with myself and my secretary. Now we are a team of, I mean, you look at the screen in front of you, I think we're about 4 lawyers here. We're about 8 lawyers here. I started with myself alone, right? Now, these are lawyers. They are other admin staffs, right? So like that, document, take pictures, put it out there, put your pictures on your pages as well. All of this is documenting how you are growing, right? So I think that's the best how best I can answer that question. I really don't know any software that you want to put in place to get that done, but importantly, document it as much as you can. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question here from Farouk, and he's asking, that can you is asking to explain what public and private partnerships mean and how it relates to small businesses.
Public and private partnership. Well, if you look at private partnership, it's more like you and another person. And it is if you call it like if you tack it like that, really. But if you say private partnership, you and me enter into a partnership, it's private, right? We are the ones that know what we want to do between ourselves. It's not a public thing. We're not putting it out there. But if you are entering a partnership with a public, with a government agency, for example, it could be a public partnership because again, public entities or agencies are supposed to be like they're supposed to be transparent. We are supposed to know, I'm supposed to know what Ministry of Trades and Investment is doing. And if I want to know anything they are doing, I can write to them as a Lagosian or as a Nigerian. I'm empowered by law to ask and know every partnership they've entered into, whether foreign or locally in Nigeria, right? So that kind of a partnership, you don't want to see it as a private partnership because it is out there. But there's something we now call public-private partnership, right? That is all joined together. What does that mean is, if we want to do a project, say, I'll use my industry as an example. Currently, we are working on prison reforms in Nigeria or justice reforms in Nigeria. And we are saying that Nigeria alone cannot do it as a government, right? So we need private agencies to also collaborate with the Nigerian government to get it done. So in that situation, you call it public-private partnership because public agencies, private agencies are coming together to form a partnership to achieve a goal. So we want to reform prisons in Nigeria. How do we get it done? Government alone does not have the money to do it. But private sectors can come in with their funding, with their expertise, with their exposures. They can come in and partner with the government, all right, and get that project done. Now, they might make money off it. Of course, there are benefits that will go to the public sector that will also go to the private sector. So that's what we call public-private partnership. So that's what that means. But when it comes to small businesses, I do not think that you need any form of public-private partnership, except you want to change systems. So if you want to change systems in area of how is Nigeria responding to small businesses in, as a country, how are they supporting small businesses? That's a bigger project. You want to reform a system, all right? In that situation, you need public-private partnership. But when it comes to the welfare or, or your business, your private business, this does not concern that at all. Thank you.
Okay, so I have another question here. Two questions, or okay, no, I have three questions actually. The first one says, do I need to do an annual filing to CAC even if I'm registering a non-profit?
Absolutely.
Then,
Yes.
okay, I'll allow you answer that.
Yes, 100%. If you are a registered entity, a business name, a partnership, limited liability company, NGO, whatever, what have you. And for NGO particularly, you also now need to also upload your audited financials, right? You have to get an auditor to audit your financials for the year and update it while you want to pay. Is a requirement. When you pay for the annual returns, before they approve it, you also need to upload your audited financials signed by an auditor in Nigeria. So yes, please, you have to.
Okay, and the second question says, I have a startup in EdTech that I registered recently as a limited liability, and I'm trying to raise fund for. But then you mentioned that we must have strong legal documents or partnerships before raising funds to avoid issues. What are the documents I must have in place?
Okay, you want to raise fund. First of all, have you evaluated yourself and see that you are ready? What do I mean by this? When do you need those documents? So there are different documents and at different stages. It is when you have already formed the partnership or the funding is already set to come that you need investment agreement, all right? But before the investment agreement comes, you're already registered. Have you complied with, have you paid your annual returns? Are you paying taxes? Now, paying taxes does not mean you are paying money. If you did not make money that year, it means you will file nil, meaning that you will still file, but there's no, filing is different from remittance. Let me put it that way. Remittance is, this is the tax I collected. I am paying it back. That's money. That's like value added tax, VAT. I've collected 30,000 naira as value added tax in the month of April. In the month of May, I will file that document that I have collected 30,000 naira in the month of April. Then I will then pay the 30,000. That is remittance when I make the payment. But where I have not collected any tax at all or any VAT at all in that month, I will still do the paperwork, the filing. But inside it, I will now say is zero. I did not collect money, right? So you are not remitting because there's nothing to remit, but you are filing, notifying the government that I did not collect money or I did not collect any VAT in that month. Same thing for company income tax. We didn't make money this year, but you have to file. If your previous turnover was over, in fact, your turnover can be more than 100 million and you did not make profit, right? So it all depends. You would need a tax auditor or tax person to also kind of enlighten you better in that regard. But importantly, for somebody who is looking to raise fund, you must comply, because I don't know the kind of funds you want to raise, whether through grants or through loans or through investor or through partnership, whatever it is. So it all depends. If it is through partnership, it is until the partnership is formed that you reduce your terms, the terms that the both parties have agreed on, you reduce it into writing and it's signed by both parties. If it is investor, it is when the investor comes and say, I want to give you 20 million. What are your terms? You sit down, round table, you discuss it. When it is agreed, whatever is not agreed, you seek legal counsel and ask, is this something I can look away or something that I have to impose, right? When you guys agree on your terms, you also reduce it into writing and it's signed by both parties as an investment agreement. But like I said, for you to be investment ready or funding ready, depending on the type of fund, you must be a compliance organization. What do I mean by compliance? You say EdTech, I would expect an EdTech, of course, register with the CAC, your taxes are intact, your annual returns are filed, you have your governance structure. What do I mean by governance structure? Your board, what is the organogram? Yeah, organogram of that organization. Who takes what authority? Who takes what decision, right? You have it in place so that if an investor comes, you can say, this is it. How much money did you make last year? Do you have an audited document for that? Do you have your books for that? So that if I want to put in my money, I know that if you have done 15 million last year, you did 20 million this year, there's every probability that this year that I want to put my money, you will make probably 40 million, right? Because every investor wants you to make progress and they want money as well, right? So ensure that you have all of those documentation. All your decision-making process has to be documented so that when they come in and ask for it, that is when they make the decision of whether or not to invest in you, right? So I think that basically should answer that question.
Okay, and then the third question says that there's a land I'm thinking of getting directly from owners of the land, that is the family, and not a real estate company. What is your advice for me?
My advice is do your due diligence. Due diligence is you're buying a property from whoever, it really doesn't matter. But be sure that, I don't know the state you're buying it, if it is in Lagos State, do your due diligence, from number one, go to Surveyor General's office, get the survey plan of the property you want to buy. Most of the families, they usually have survey plans. Take it to Surveyor General's office. They will tell you whether it's a Lagos State land, whether it's under government acquisition or not. That's number one. Now, if they tick that box, it is not under government acquisition. Is it the right family that is selling to you? That's another one. You will get that from the land registry in Alausa. Go there, take the documents they've given you to the place. They will also check that for you. Another thing you might want to check is this land under litigation? Are they fighting over it? You might want to check that from the court as well. So those are the due diligence. You need to be sure that the real owners are the people selling to you. The land is not under government acquisition and is not currently under litigation.
Okay. I have a question here asking if NAFDAC registration number charges are the same.
I don't know whether they are the same, like from product to product. Is that what you mean?
I think just like you said that the cost of filing returns is fixed. I guess she's asking if the cost for NAFDAC number is fixed.
No, it is not, because there are different products, there are different and numbers of products. So for example, somebody is filing, I'm a company, I produce like 4 different types of product. And the NAFDAC number is not for my company, it's for the product. So the money I'll be charged for filing for 4 products is different from one product. You get what I mean? And even for each product, it also depends, because for some people, they are not the one manufacturing, like it's been imported and it's under food and drink and cosmetics and all of these things. So it all depends. If you just have to make your findings really on it, and their fees is not also displayed. They assess you. They assess what you want to do and what is going to cost, because they have to come to your factory. For some people, they are not coming into their factory. For example, if you're importing, they will not come to, because there's no factory they're coming to. So your application depends on the circumstance of your case, and they do their assessment based on that as well.
Okay, I have a question here asking, is an audited financial statement required in filing annual returns for a business name?
No, it's not needed.
Okay, I have a question saying, I would like to know if it's the same audited report you submit to CAC as annual returns that is also filed at the Nigerian Revenue Service.
Yes.
Okay. Then a question here saying, I have a small business with less than 10 million turnover, but a vendor insisted I pay VAT. Then on sharing invoice with my client, I charged VAT and my client deducted without withholding tax. Do I still have to remit the VAT that I charged to government?
So withholding tax and VAT. First of all, if your revenue is 10 million, you are not supposed to charge VAT. Even under the old law, you're not supposed to charge VAT. Now, if you charge VAT and it's being paid, you are supposed to remit. But if you charge VAT and they pay the VAT, but also deduct your withholding tax, you will still remit the VAT, but you will get their evidence of remittance of the withholding tax. All right. Now, so if you do not now remit the VAT and you show the government the evidence of payment of the withholding tax. So, withholding tax is they withheld the money, but did they remit it? So you have to follow up and ensure that it is remitted and you collect an evidence of it, because you will use that at the end of the year to collect back some benefits from the government. So withholding tax and VAT works hand in hand, and it depends on what is being charged on. So if it is a service, say for example, I'm rendering a legal service, I have charged VAT. Okay, they paid the VAT. But they deducted my withholding tax, which is normal because you're supposed to deduct withholding tax from professional services. In that situation, when I want to file at the end of the year for, say, my company income tax, I get some reliefs on the withholding tax that have been deducted from me. But how do I get it if there is no evidence? So for somebody that has paid you with withholding and deducted withholding tax from you, you need evidence that that withholding tax was remitted. So you need to collect it from the from the vendor, and discuss it with your whoever is doing your taxes for you, or you are doing it yourself. You can take it to the tax office. They will help you in all of those. There's lots of deduction and benefits that accrues to you with that, but you need the evidence. Very important.
Okay, then the second to the last question I have here says, what if the business is newly registered like in March without bank account? Will I still file my tax?
No. So tax is filed now. I think we need to be sure. So for annual returns with CAC, it is on a yearly basis. So until next year, you are not entitled to file for annual returns. Now for tax, depending on the tax, if you have staff, even if you registered last year, if you have staff, you're supposed to start paying their personal income tax, and it is on a monthly basis. Now, how does it work? They will do your assessment for you. You will know how much you'll be deducting from the staff salary. Say you're paying the staff 70,000 naira. Maybe the assessment says you should deduct 3,000 naira as tax from their salary. So you pay them less that's 3,000 naira. And before the 10th of the following month, before the 10th of May, you have to remit that to the government. So tax cannot be used generally. We have to be specific on the type of tax we are talking about. So even if you registered your company last year, company income tax is yearly, VAT is monthly, personal income tax is monthly, withholding tax is also monthly. So it depends on the tax you're talking about. Then annual returns is also yearly, just as its name, annual returns is yearly.
I have the very last question here saying, what if you're in a trade like you're an electrician, what are the registration needed?
As an electrician, is a vocation, just like I'm a lawyer, we are in the same category. If you are running it as you're not running it as a survivor. If you want to run a business as a technician, I would expect that you want to scale, whereby you are training other technician, you are employing more technicians because the level of work you're getting is more at scale. You need to register your business. So register your business, very important. And all of these things we are talking about in terms of compliance also applies to you the moment you register your business. So except you want to remain small, and just be doing your work. And in that kind of situation, when you're no longer there, you're no longer making money. But if you have more people, that's why they say you can only go far with more people. You cannot go far alone. So if you want to make money, do better, you have to bring in more people, train more people to be technicians, employ more technicians to handle your work or your workload and all of those things. So everything that applies to every business is also applies to you, regardless of the fact that it's a vocation. If you are running it as a business, everything applies. So I think I saw a question. Somebody said, what can I do to inactive board or trustees? I think that's is a common problem, right? So I am on the board of an organization in the US, and they are very intentional in looking for board of trustees, first, or board of directors, whichever. So the way I got recruited, I don't know that organization from anywhere, but they already have a need. So as an organization, what need do you have before you even start appointing people on your board? What is that thing you are looking for on your board? Is it direction? Is it somebody with expertise in fundraising? Is it somebody with expertise in program implementation? Is it somebody with expertise, with connection, like somebody that has connection, that knows people, right? That's very important. So you need to know that need, or somebody that is vast in tech, because tech is the way now, and you are not really there when it comes to tech, but you need somebody on your board that is tech savvy, right? So identify the need, then look for somebody that meets that need and available. It's something else. So somebody like me now, I'm a lawyer, you're looking for a lawyer on your team, right? And then you approach me. I might have the expertise, but I might not have the time to give you. So some people are too busy to deliver on your board. You don't want that kind of a person, even though they have the right expertise. So it has to be that the person meets the expertise you're looking for and has the time to dedicate to the growth of your business. All right. So you need the balance of those two. So if you have those two, then you are onboarding them, right? Board of trustees does not mean You are onboarding them. It is your company. You are onboarding them. What do I mean by onboarding them? You do like an interview with them. This is what we are looking to do. This is our expectations from you. So it's not just that you collect their name, collect their ID card, go and put them with CAC, and you say you have a board. That's not a board. So a board is at the beginning, and it's for a period of time. It cannot be eternity. Let them know after 2 years, we can reappoint you and we can take you away. Okay, have the conversation. For the next 3 years, we would like you to dedicate your time and dedicate your expertise to the growth of our organization. And then they can say, they can agree to it. You give them the bylaw of the organization, they read it. If it aligns with their vision, everybody loves good thing. Everybody wants to be a part of something great. If you're doing something great, trust me, you'll find good people who will dedicate their time to it, and then they can put in their best in it, right? So that's the way you first recruit. So to answer this question of inactive board is, how did you recruit the board? How did you get them on board? Not the one that Mr. and Mrs. are on the board. We cannot get anywhere because Mrs. cannot hold Mr. accountable. Okay, so we need to be able to put the right fit, the right people that meet the right requirements into the board, and get them, have a clear expectations from them and hold them accountable. Then have meetings, let them know our meetings will be held. I mean, for the whole of 2026, I already know my board meetings. I know the dates already. I have the links to those meetings already, right? So I know that on also date from January, I know the date, the meeting I want to do in June. So there's no how I will not dedicate to that kind of thing. It is planned that it is 3 times in a year, right? And the agenda, you would have it like weeks before. So I'm prepared to bring in my best to put my best to the table, right? So I think that's the best way you can get your board active. Let there be clear expectation. Carry them along. Get approvals. Approvals does not mean you need to meet. If we want to do this project, send them the, like a PowerPoint presentation, not something bulky, just giving them a clue and asking for a virtual vote. And, very coordinated. You yourself, the company needs to be coordinated before the board can be coordinated. So check in what, evaluate everything, and then I can promise you that if you do the right things from the recruitment stage, you are going to have a very active board. And don't look for board members that will be saying, well done, that will just be clapping for you. People should be able to criticize you, tell you, no, you're not doing these things right. No, this is the best way to go about it. Okay, I know this person, I can bring this person on board to help us get this done. That kind of thing. Be looking for you that will hold you accountable. And that's what we are mostly scared of in this part of the world. Right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Foluyemi Orija, for taking out time of your busy schedule to take us through today's session. I'm very sure our participants learned a whole lot from today's session. For those that are asking how they can get the recording, you can go to our YouTube channel, because we're streaming on all our social media platforms currently, and you can go to our YouTube channel if you'd like to rewatch this particular session. So thank you so much, Madam Oluyemi Orija, and we look forward to having you at our next session with Hertford Chambers. If you'd like to, reach out to them, and probably get a discount or two, being that you're from LSTF. I'm pretty sure Madam Oluyemi will be open to that. So please, Madam Oluyemi, if you can please drop your contact details in the chat box. So for those that would be interested in reaching out to probably, get in contact with you, maybe they would like to employ your services and get one advice or two for their businesses. So please be on lookout for Madam Oluyemi's contact details in the chat box, and you can reach out to her as soon as we're done with this particular session. So for those that are joining us on all our other social media platforms, you can reach out on 09064234900. I repeat that again, 09064234900. And they are also at Headcourt Chambers on all social media platforms. That is HEADFORTCHAMBERS. That is Headcourt Chambers on all social media platforms. And I will repeat the number once again, 09064234900. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for today's session. We look forward to having you at our other sessions for the rest of the month. We have so much more in store for you for this month. Thank you once again, Madam Oluyemi. We look forward to having you at the next session. And thank you everyone once again. And like I said, follow us on all social media platforms at Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. Turn on your post notifications so that you don't miss out on any other programs that we might have on for you here at Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. Thank you so much, everyone, and do enjoy the rest of your day.